Hi, hello, happy Sabbath, and Shabbat Shalom. Sorry about the background music, but I wanted to take a quick shot of my 15 quarts of bread and butter pickles before I go outside to do the rest of my Sabbath report, and do a quick sweep of Mom's home flowers over here that she's trying to get to live. Some are, some aren't. That's that curing juice that I marinate with nitrates in it I use for my meat, and I'll be doing another batch of those again on the stainless roaster pan, brazier pan, what do we call it. So that's kind of, those are just cucumber peels I need to get rid of. Let me turn the light off here, get out from this music, and hopefully we won't get in trouble over having too much external music, because it wasn't intentional. That is YouTube. But basically, to show you all the things I've been doing, sometimes I gotta be inside the house. Mom's moved a few things around in here, not terribly greatly, like overwhelmingly. She put all this stuff in boxes up here. Not for sure what her plans were. My spindly pear has been gaining and losing ground in my flood saturation place, mostly because of mold, I think. The two pineapples have put on some growth. Mom had an avocado that she got sprouted, and I potted it for her, and it's putting on growth. No big changes down here per se. Just trying to keep it watered. It is leaking out of that corner, so I do have to, but it needed no more soil anyhow. Eventually it all has to be moved outside. So just brief little touch over everything in here. Nothing severely drastic in the inside area, just little bits of this and that. Mom got some more neat cooking equipment. Let me poke in here real quick. Just long enough to say that there's that roaster right up there on the kitchen there. She got that for like 10 bucks. It's a nice machine, and I'll be using it in the future. It's big enough to put a full-size turkey in. Of course, the babies are still the babies, and I still can't get my water throttled out properly, so either too much or too little, so they're all wallowing around in muddy swamp. I turned it off last night. Daisy. I know, you see something. But other than that, I got this pitchfork head welded on here. Looks terrible, but man, it makes it a world easier to work. It's good and strong, it's fully welded, there's no pits, no burn through. Had to use the thing on 40 amp setting with the smallest wire welding rod around here to get it on there, especially since I still can't work with that my brain went dead. Wire feed welder. I can't really make it do much. I was going to pick up a bunch of dirt over on the other side over here before it rained. If it'll dry out, let me come through here. There's Gretel over there hiding in the corner. She just likes to stay in her little quiet corner. Let's see if we don't scare the boys. Oh, there they are right here. Maybe we won't. So you see here where Mr. O'Malley, boy, isn't he huge. He weighs as much as I do, every bit of it. So you see how this dirt right here he's standing on is all dry and crumbly? I want to get in here with my new power vac that I've been building, and we'll see that here in a moment, because I've started building it this week. Yes, Mr. O'Malley, how you doing, boss man? Mr. Snookums is a little more spooked. He's a little scared of me. Not that Mr. O'Malley's just chummy to me yet. Anyhow, of course, you see he's just, a lot of his body weight actually is his skin, because he builds up a really thick hide over the winter when it's fighting weather. So a lot of what's there isn't actually muscle. I mean, there is muscle, don't get me wrong. I've felt him before. His neck is about as big as one of my legs. Yes, Mr. O'Malley. How's the boss man? How you doing? Yes, you doing okay? It's like, I'm just going to lay back down if you're not going to pester me none. Yes. Yes. Mr. O'Malley, huh? How you doing? He really wants me to go away so he can lay down. But anyhow, I wanted to go out. Since he's moved, I'm going to go ahead and go over here to show you the, if I can get the board I want. Oh, there's a piece of, he broke a piece of the plywood off over here. That's alright. It's not going to matter when I'm done with it. I think he broke that off of here or something. I'm not sure where it broke off of. Anyhow. Yes, Gretel. Here's a baby. I'll feed. Yes. She's not doing a lot better, but she's doing somewhat better. From whatever parasite she's been dealing with. Been a big old chunk of tree branch fell off that I can't get from this angle, but excuse me, Mr. O'Malley. I'm gonna go over here and do a land shot. Yeah. Get him away. There you go. So this over here was all dry and dusty before. Yes, Mr. O'Malley. And it was all churned up. It got a little rain, and then my overflow from my, you're going to see liquid dripping down the side of that. If I zoom in, there's poop juice rolling down through there, and it's kind of dampening all this up. But all this out here is just pushed into a massive berm pile by the two boys digging in here and rolling around in it. And a little rain and a lot of extra overflow has pretty much caused it to clump up, so I can't immediately get this part with the vacuum cleaner until it dries out again. It's supposed to be drier for this next week, but it might rain. Of course, the persimmons on this one tree that I have with persimmons is putting on pretty good fruit. They'll eat it as it ripens because they're too small really for me to mess with. And I got a couple branches broke off somehow or another. Not sure how. Some of them broke, but they didn't actually die, so they'll probably grow twisted. Otherwise, I'll get in there and I'll clean them off. Of course, the barking around the bottom, I need to armor it up better because that'll kill them eventually if I don't. And they've mowed this field down quite a bit, just taking down the high seed pods and everything in here because, well, it's food to them, what can you expect? But the Bermuda grass is still doing alright. One thing I wanted to bring up was this unknown mystery plant over here, which I still don't know what breed of plant it is, what it's called. It was almost dead, but not totally dead. You can see the little couple of leaves in here that are still coming up, and it might just come back and grow this fall in the cooler weather, so that it might end up being one of them deals where it comes back and grows. From what I can tell, it does not have any form of big root on it like a beet or a turnip or any of that. So whatever it is, it's an unknown plant. It eats good, cooks up well, it's nice and mild, good flavor. Oh, there's a big green spider I've never seen before. I say big, fairly big. Never seen this spider before anywhere. Huh. I don't know if I can get it on the camera very well because it is very green. I'm going to turn my monitor so I can see what I'm looking at. There it is. Huh. That's a spider I've never seen before. Neat. It kind of almost looked like a, what am I thinking of? It almost looked like a canker, one of them galls on the side of the leaf. Looks like a leaf gall, but it's actual living spider. Never seen one like that. Bright green, fairly large, almost as big as a golden orb spider. Neat. I'll have to look that up. So, I didn't look at the Rose of Sharon, I forgot to, but it's mostly just still flowering along. I'm under the impression that a lot of the flowers that started forming on these pepper plants are not going to make it. They don't look like, either they don't have enough phosphorus or something. So they put on flowers, but then they don't go ahead and go all the way to maturity and make a fruit like this one. This should be ready by next week. It's getting all wrinkly, which usually is a sign it's about to start getting fully ripe. The strawberries that haven't died from heat stroke are looking pretty good. Again, that latest rain we got, and then the cooler weather, because it's been down in the 80s and even down in the 60s at night. And now we're having a good surplus. We're having a lot more tomatoes on this Roma tomato plant, coming out nice and healthy. I had 2 more tomatoes down there where that one is, but they got knocked off before I could pick them. So one is in the house. It got knocked off. It went down on the ground. The other one apparently got carried off by a thief. So this thing now has 3 tomatoes on it, and I don't know that it'll make any more than that, but it's got 3. Speaking of catching thieves, I had the live trap out. I've caught 2 raccoons this past week. One was larger, more mean and aggressive, and one was quieter and softer and smaller. One might have been a male, one might have been a female. I don't know. May have just been their reaction. Oh yeah, speaking of seeds, I got around and I harvested all the dock in the field. And I got, now that kind of deceptive, because that's just the stems mostly. I mean, there is a lot of seed there. My plan is, rather than harvest this to immediately try to make grain out of it, is to put it out in a sprouting bed, hopefully make it sprout into more dock plants somewhere. I've got a plan for a place downstairs where hopefully I can make that work. So, and since it is a member of the buckwheat family, that should be alright. Here's a weird little thing. See how there's roots growing over the top of my hose? Apparently, when this thing gets enough water, it starts growing roots over the hoses. So that's kind of neat. Weird. Almost like from a horror movie, but it's not scary. It's like, wow, man, this thing's happy to be alive. As the weather's cooled off, some of the tomato plants are making more tomatoes, and some of them aren't making any more tomatoes. This thing had 1 fruit on it, but it was all chewed up and in bad shape, so it doesn't look like it's going to make any more, at least not for a few months, till it cools off. But the cherry tomato, which is hard to see in amongst all the vines, is, well, there's one over there. I'm going to pick it before some other critter does. I'm the critter that's supposed to pick these. There's one. And there's one. They're in here now and then. Not many. But because even though it made lots of fruit, raccoons or other things, squirrels possibly, have been eating them before I can. I do have like 35 of them in the house, but I'll have to eat them pretty soon because they're all ripe. As are 8 more. We had some Roma tomatoes last night with our evening meal. They were pretty good. Probably have that bell pepper next Sabbath and some kind of meal. So, the things I got done last week, because usually this is supposed to be about what I've gotten done. So, let me go through here because it'll be easier to show you from this angle. And some people do this all the time, so it's no big thing to them. And if you look through here, I hooked up the bush hog since I never could get that mower fixed the way it needs to be to keep it from tearing apart in a timely manner. So I got the bush hog out, and I went through here somewhat, even up through here. You can see the borderline of where it was. I just went and mowed one big pass, but didn't do the whole field. I'll do that later in the fall. And kind of hard to see that I did anything else over here because I didn't. I mean, I drove through there, but it didn't really have any big difference. However, down here, where the bush hog normally sits, ow, whacked my knuckles. You see, I got all this knocked down, roughed out. Now, you might say, well, what's that all about? That is because I have the end off the drive shaft and have it inside the shop soaking. We'll look at that later. And so to keep the rain off the shaft, I put a piece of PVC pipe over it to keep it dry until I can get out here and clean it and re-grease it. And so that way it doesn't rust up on me while I've got the top off of it. And well, since I'm going this direction, and I now have a path that's got fewer ticks in it than it did before. I don't know that it has fewer ticks, but they're having a harder time getting up on me, so hopefully I'll come home with fewer ticks on me. Might as well go down through here. This fell down since I mowed. I think that fell down during the rain, which was after I mowed. Some of the tree branches out of that thing are falling off. Eventually I have to do something about these trees. Some of them, I've been intentionally trying to cultivate them to be taller and straighter. Some of them are just already big enough. I just need to get around to cutting them down and turning them into timber. As I come down in here, of course, I made myself a little easier access into where this berry is supposed to be. Ain't much of the plant left. If you saw last week's report, it was losing a lot of leaves real fast. And then we got rain. This end apparently is doing really bad. It's not utterly dead. This side's grown a little bit, but it lost a lot of its leaves like this. I think it was just heat stress. So, a lizard. Anyhow, so here's heat stressing. We got a little rain. The weather's cooled off. Maybe it'll recover and come back and be all right. I don't know. If not, well, too bad, because I'm not really set up to have an irrigation line over here yet. There's a, you can see this thing having a plum on it. It's got 3 of them on here. They're probably going to be full of bugs, but yeah. Wish they would just get covered in these things. The ones, there's some over there too. Oh yeah. Up in there, I can see a few. It's hard to get aimed at them all. And a couple places are just swarmed with them. And you know, they drop because they've been bitten and they're not going to make it. But there's a few of them up in there. My grandmother had a batch of them over behind the old property, and she had enough. She made plum butter out of them. She'd make 50 quarts of plum butter off of the cherry plums because they were just that many of them. I mean, they were just, and you think about the fact that half or more of it is seed and skin. So she got, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of berries off of them. Plums off of them, but she got a lot. So I did come down here, partly so I can go in and fight the prill a minute, partly just so I can go down here and look at things. But yeah, I got in here and I ran the bush hog down far as I felt effective. Now I could have gone over here, but there's potentially sticks and logs and stuff in there I didn't want to fool with. So I just kind of left that be, and this is supposed to be a goat pen eventually, which means that whatever's in there won't survive the goats. Although also, I've got to deal with the question of, do I want to leave any of these willow trees alive, because they'll grow up and invade this place pretty bad. I did all my testing on this soil, and it's really good, super good, in calcium and magnesium and copper and boron and iron, optimal or above optimal, but it's unfortunately short in phosphorus. So I gotta get more phosphorus, and it needs a little more sulfur. And the only reason I measured it was it had a whole lot of it had the garlic grew on there really well. And you see that plant right there, and these right here, even though they're shrivelly looking, they're perlament, and I got to come in here and spray, and that's why I went and bush hogged, so I could get down to this perlament, which is close to the ground, and spray it. It's so hard to get to wading through these weeds with a 4-gallon backpack sprayer on my back that weighs about 60 pounds full. So I went through here and I cleared all this out. Not even that all this has perlament on it, but just to get myself a clear action plan. Some of the perlament may have actually dried up, but some of it hasn't, and so I still gotta get in here with a sprayer, wade through this stuff to fight it. One reason I didn't mow in here is there's fence wire laying in there that I don't want to destroy, and I certainly don't want to wrap it around my bush hog either. And it looks like some blister beetles were in here, looking at how chewed up that is. But anyhow, these things, although I did mow some down, it wasn't because I wanted to, it's because they were in the way. But these little things make their little flowers, whatever kind of plant they are. For all I know, they could be a relative of the sunflower, they could be a relative of a lot of things, but I don't know what they are. They just make flowers. Same as those make flowers. Boy, getting devoured. Again, I didn't mow in there because I got uneven, rocky soil right here that would have hit the bush hog, and I got that cherry tree that I got to pull out of there, level all that out before I can keep that maintained. And I did burn off a lot of brush in the past that have been piled up there. That's a plant I sprayed some time back. I need to spray some more of these plants, trees. There's too many of them. I gotta get in here and scrape up some sand off of that overflow. So you can see where I've mowed in here gives me a lot of passageway in here without having to tear up my legs or trip over too much. But I still end up having to get in there where it's brushy. And I'm still not for sure if I want to keep these. They say that I'm supposed to be able to use this willow for rooting, but we tried that and it didn't work, or at least it didn't work when we tried it. Well, we did it wrong, or exactly what. In other words, it could have been our fault for not doing it right. It could have been the fact that we got wrong information. It could have been a shortcoming of the willow tree itself, not having the right chemicals the right way as it should have. I don't know. So I'm looking in here now at the passion fruit vines. They got their little pretty little flowers here. A lot of bees. I can hear the bees in here. There's one right there. I don't know if it's a carpenter bee. That's actually on that mint. It wants the mint flower more than it does the. I don't know. If you listen. I don't know if they can be heard on the. Yeah, I don't know if they can be heard on the camera or not. Even if I stop talking. But they're in there. Oh, that's a news bee. That's why it's so noisy. Noise bee. Anyhow, so these things are trying their best to make passion fruit. I never have been able to get a good crop of them since I found out they were edible, and which was as a child. So however many of them set fruit, I don't know. And they're only really just starting to flower right now. But there are more of them than they have been in the past, so hopefully there'll be more of them in the future. More pearl mint that I have to spray, get rid of. Now, yes, I suppose I could go around hand picking them and digging them up, and it'd be a little more organic farming. But I ain't got that kind of stamina. It's easier to walk around with 60 pounds on my back than it is to bend over and yank up 500,000 little weeds out of the ground. So there's a pearl mint. It's regrowing just since it got mowed. And they say don't spray it then mow it. And so I mowed it, now I'll spray it. I'll do it the other way. I don't know how my elderberries are faring over here, but I'm going to try to see if I can get a look in on them. Again, if something's eating the leaves off, whether it's deer or goats. This one elderberry bush did put on some fruit. Not a lot, but some, and the birds probably ate a lot of it too. I tried, somewhere along here, putting a piece of ivy, so there's more of that pearl mint I gotta get down to. I tried putting it, oh there it is, I think, yes. Good deal. Right here, this Boston ivy that I transplanted here from somewhere else, still alive. Hopefully it'll just swarm these cliffs. There's other ivy here. Somebody said, well, let the other ivy have it. I want the Boston ivy to have it. For one thing, it draws in bees. I've never seen bees get attracted to the other ivy. I haven't even seen it flower. I've seen the Boston ivy flower and bring in bees. And the other is it'll just completely plaster this whole side of the hill with ivy, and it's good goat food. So when there's nothing else to feed them, even in the dead of winter, there'll be a Boston ivy harvest just waiting. So, yeah, phlegm in my throat all the time. That's one reason I sound so bad. My throat's all scarred up. I can't talk like a normal person. Says I sound like a chain smoker. I never could figure out how they got them things lit. Of course, I don't smoke anything. I just tell people I wouldn't even smoke if you set me on fire. I'd burn a clean blue flame. It's kind of my mindset anyhow. Efficiency. Think of a acetylene torch, or at least a propane torch. There's a neighbor over there. Guess they're just minding their own business. Try not to get too much footage of them. They bought this land over here and they're going to town on it. They're really doing stuff with it. They ain't wasting time. They didn't just buy the land and then sit on it. They've dozed and they've dug and they've constructed, and they've got chickens and turkeys up there, and they're doing quite a bit. And at least they're not wasting their time. A lot of people will buy a piece of land like that and just sit on it and say, oh, it's an investment property. Now, I'm investing in my little bit of property. I got a lot less. I've only got 10%. They got 30 and I've got 3. And I'm investing in mine for all it's worth, even despite being sick. I've been doing a lot better since this surgery. I'm doing a lot better. Still way behind. I still got 15 or so years of catching up to do, but so over here on the back of Big Red, I've got a part of a project out here. The rest is inside. The bulk of it's inside that I've gotten done. I got winded doing that. So I've got the mower under a lid. Nothing has happened to it since you last looked at it, except that I put a lid on it to keep water off the motor. And what's going on right here, I've got this cyclonic separator I'm building. This was a leaf shredder body. You see I've cut and melted the plastic to conform it to that piece of PVC pipe, screwed it in, and even put a nut and a bolt down here. There's a piece of plywood right here cut and screwed in. Forgot there could be wind noise on that. Here, let's do this. Now, does that help? Yeah, see how it's got screws all the way around to hold it in place? This hole right here is for a downdraft pipe. Where is it, downdraft pipe? See, the downdraft pipe fits on the back of this motor right here. If I know where I put it. I probably don't. It might be out here. I don't see it. I'll get over here closer and be sure I don't see it. Oh, there it is. There's part of it right here. It's not all of it. Now see, I taped all this hose together. It's about, with the wand, it's about 45 feet. So I can get over there and get that dirt without having to try to pack it all in by hand. Because I really ain't got the strength to do that. So this piece fits in here. And while I may not use this piece in particular, it's designed, the only reason that it doesn't fit perfectly is because it's a little too long. This is a drawstring. It was a fan, and I went and I heat molded it, just heated up plastic and jammed it on there with a clamp. And see, this fits in here just like that. And the idea is to keep big chunky clunky rocks out of my dirt. Not little gravel, although that stuff will come out too. And then the other side of it is, this piece, although this piece does not fit in here, I have other pieces, wherever I put them. They're this size. Let me see if this one will give you a good example. Yeah. So it's this size, it's a straight coupling. So if I use one straight coupling between those two, the one side fits in that hole just perfectly, and then the other side fits in that hole just perfectly. So I'm trying my very best to use nothing but 100% stuff already here. I know some people say, isn't that following a fad? Well, no, it's because I'm poor and I've got so much garbage. I was going to try to use these, but I don't think I even need them, so they'll probably just go back outside. Yeah, I've been fooling around with that, getting myself a gathering device. Hopefully when the ground dries up, I'll be able to get it all out of there and be able to use it on the gardens. Still, see, these are tools I use. That was the other thing, is how many tools could I use that I already had, and I think I'm up to like 15 or 16. I thought I used more than that, but turns out, you know, I use that tool and that tool, that tool, that tool, and that tool, and two other drills, and the welder, and outside, and this drill press right here that this piece is laying against. And I guess you could say I use the fan because I'm drying out that got out in the rain, but also I use it on myself. Some people say, well, that's just a fan, that doesn't count, and so that's fine. So yeah, I'm trying to use everything in-house without buying another part to make this, and maybe I'll succeed, maybe I won't, I don't know. We'll give it a shot. If I can't use that piece there, which I probably won't, I'll just go cut another piece off of a full-length piece of pipe, which I have, 10-foot stick, and I'll cut whatever length that it takes to get between that socket right there and the receiving point of one of those couplers, wherever it's at. The coupler should rest right in here, and then it could rest up just high enough for the motor to clear, so that because obviously the motor can't sit flush with that cavity there. So if all goes well, who knows, maybe I'll get this thing made this coming week, and maybe I'll even get it used. So other than that, everything else the same, junky, trashy, same as it was. Everything's just a big mess. Everything is in stages of staging, waiting on something or waiting on my health. My health's been improving, so a lot of things are going to get done here pretty soon, Yahweh willing. I got to take that piece of strap there, 2 pieces actually, that old lamp thing, and use them to make pulling mechanisms. Oh, I was going to show you the end of this is the other end of the drive shaft. So it's got 3 points in it, and it's just a tube. I'm soaking it in a diesel mix with solvents because of the fact that the one of the locker bearings lost its chrome plating and rusting, and it kept flinging off the back of the PTO while I was mowing. So I'm trying to free it up so I can get in there and get it all clean and see if I can't at least slow down the rust and make certain I get it more often greased and keep it covered so that it doesn't get rained on so much, so it won't rust so fast in the future. I cannot think of anything else this moment, so I'm just going to say well, that's it for this week, and hopefully next Sabbath I'll be around to make another report, and maybe it'll have this thing done, and maybe we'll see it doing something. So until then, shalom, and have a wonderful rest of your Sabbath, and a wonderful next week. Bye.